The Giants, they're up first in our little game here. They hold the 6th overall pick. DJ, give me a trade scenario where the Giants move up to get a quarterback.
Well, I'm going to say 3 because I don't think Washington's going to gift wrap a quarterback for a team inside their division. So let's get to 3 with the New England Patriots. And let's say Drake Maye is there. That's the target for the New York Giants. It's going to cost them $47, their second-round pick this year. And let's put next year's second-round pick in there as well. You don't have to part with a future one. I think that that's a situation where New England, if they're a J.J. McCarthy team, is able to get some extra picks and still get a quarterback that they really like there at 6. So Drake Maye, why make this move if you're the Giants? To me, it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade over Daniel Jones. It's going to provide a little jolt of energy into this franchise. I just think Brian Daboll wants more. They were so bad statistically last year. Obviously, Daniel gets hurt. But they have to be more dynamic in the passing game. We've been talking about the receivers and the firepower they can add outside. They could also just upgrade at the quarterback position, which this trade would represent.
Yeah, you guys know that I think the Patriots should stick and take Maye. We talked about at the top of the show. But from the Giants' perspective, I would absolutely make this call. I do not love the idea of them trading up for J.J. McCarthy, but Drake Maye, I think, is the kind of quarterback you do trade up for because of his ceiling and the potential to upgrade, as Daniel said, on Daniel Jones in a number of areas, one of which is Drake Maye loves to attack downfield. Last year, the year before last year, even though the Giants' offense was much improved, they still ranked near the bottom of the NFL in explosive passing plays. That would not be the case if Drake Maye is their quarterback. I also think Brian Daboll would do an excellent job of tapping into his athleticism. And I would go back, by the way, to the work he did with Josh Allen in Buffalo, developing him as a quarterback from year 1 to 2 to 3. I think you could see a similar trajectory with him and Drake Maye.
And you think about Jalen Hyatt speeding down the field, too. A great way to stretch the field potentially. Daniel Jones, by the way, doesn't have any guaranteed money in his contract after this upcoming season. Could be even more incentive there for the Giants. Let's go to the Vikings. Another opportunity to do a little trade here. They have the 11th and 23rd picks in the first round. So, Mel, give me a trade scenario where the Vikings move up to get a quarterback. What does it look like?
Yeah, you keep hearing, Laura, that it would be Drake Maye. Drake Maye coached by Josh McCown, but if he's off the board, obviously you got to go somewhere else if you can't go up and get him, and that would be J.J. McCarthy. Now, I think it's too rich for me. I'm at 15 on the board. Field knows that. I think when you look at Jim Harbaugh building it up, hey, JJ's the best player in the draft, and Jim would benefit from all the hype and all the build-up and get those extra picks and move down and benefit this Charger roster who needs a right tackle, could benefit from the depth at wide receiver and pick up a pick next year and get that draft capital going. So Jim allows the team to get his quarterback, and he benefits from all his hype surrounding his quarterback that he produced this year with the national title on a 27-1 record. So if I'm the Vikings, that would be the trade partner if they can't go up and get Drake Maye.
Yeah, Mel, it's far too logical for the Vikings to move up to the point that I'm now expecting them to. If they don't, I would be borderline shocked. That being said, while I, like you, don't have J.J. McCarthy ranked inside my top 5 prospects, he's actually a little bit further down my big board at number 18 overall. I've come to accept that the NFL has greater reverence for the prospect that J.J. McCarthy is than I do at this stage of his career. And part of the reason why I would be more comfortable if I'm Minnesota making this maneuver is that, well, it's never that easy for a rookie quarterback. It's a pretty darn good set of circumstances for a rookie quarterback to walk into, both from a head coach and general coaching staff standpoint. Kevin O'Connell and certainly the entire staff he has there on the offensive side of the ball. Plus, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson with 2 tackles and Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. That's not a bad starting point with Aaron Jones in the backfield for J.J. McCarthy to have a relatively smooth transition into the NFL.
Yeah, one of the better potential starting points of any of these quarterbacks that we're talking about, whoever ends up with the Vikings, they do in fact trade up to get a quarterback or maybe stay pat. So, Mina, give me a trade scenario where the Broncos move up to get a quarterback. You know Sean Payton would get excited about this.
Yeah, my trade is a little less enticing than the Vikings trade. I'm not giving up more than an additional first in addition to pick 12, as well as a couple thirds. The Broncos don't have their second-round pick this year, so I am throwing in the fourth-round pick. In fantasy, we call this like the poo-poo platter, but it's what we got. So we're offering it to the Broncos, and obviously the Vikings trade is one they would prefer, but I still think they would take this, Daniel, because moving down to 12, you can still take a very good offensive lineman if that's the route they want to go, and there's so many other positions they need to address. From Denver's perspective, I actually think Sean Payton wouldn't mind having an offense, frankly, that's pretty similar to what we saw J.J. McCarthy run at Michigan. Which is to say, really heavy emphasis on the run, a lot of play action. I think he would be happy to have a quarterback after the last year who is more likely to throw over the middle of the field, accurate, can use his mobility. So I think Payton would be drawn to his qualities.
I want to ask Mina one question on this, though, and that is the question that Jim Harbaugh is going to get asked at the press conference, which is, you told us J.J. McCarthy should be the first pick in the draft. He's the best player in college football. And you just gift wrapped him to a team inside your own division. So which is it, Jim?
Yeah. I don't know. Jim would say, well, you know, I say a lot of things, Daniel, but I'm here to run a football team and amass players.
Well, I was actually just...
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah, sorry, we had the delay get us there a little bit. I was actually still distracted by poo-poo platter, but we're going to continue on.
I've made many of those offers in my days.
I know, you're notorious for that. Right behind the Broncos, the Raiders hold the 13th overall pick, and they have Gardner Minshew and, Aiden O'Connell in that quarterback room. Field, give me a scenario where the Raiders move up for a quarterback.
Okay, so Mina just offered the poo-poo platter. I'm offering Mel the offer he can't refuse. Las Vegas Raiders moving up from 13 to 2, offering the Washington Commanders, number 13, the first-round pick next year, the first-round pick in 2026, plus a second-round pick this year, Mel. This is the move. This is the Trey Lance package plus to go up 2 additional spots relative to where San Francisco went up from 12 to 3. We're going from 13 to 2. We're getting Jayden Daniels. We're reuniting him with Antonio Pierce, who, of course, was on the staff and influential in his decision to go to Arizona State, and giving Las Vegas the quarterback that they believe can be the architect of a dynamic offense with a great wide receiver duo and way they played defense down the stretch last year. We can be a contender already in the AFC West.
Lot to unpack there, guys. I will go to Washington first. If they had their quarterback, I'd say, are you kidding me? Let's make that move. If they had the quarterback, they don't, right? So you're going to give up Jayden Daniels, who we think can be great, right? We have comps to Lamar Jackson and Randall Cunningham. And you're going to let the Raiders get them, who need them because they're in the division with Mahomes, right? And they got all those great quarterbacks like Josh Allen and all of them to deal with in the AFC. And if you told me, if somebody there today, is anybody a psychic? Is any psychics on board? If there's a psychic that can tell me that Michael Pratt from Tulane. Yeah. Okay, Michael Pratt, I think you probably are, Laura. Is Michael Pratt from Tulane? Is Keaton Slovis from BYU, right? Is somebody going to be Brock Purdy? Is there's a Brock Purdy out there, and I'm Washington, hey, sign me up. Yeah. But I'm not good enough to predict. I don't think anybody's good enough to predict that. So despite the Hall, and I'm an advocate for the Hall, and I'm Monty Hall, and I love it, right? I'm not making that move from Washington. I'm taking Jayden Daniels. There's no way I'm giving Jayden to Antonio Pierce, who Arizona loves him. Jayden, too bad. This is the NFL. You don't pick where you go, okay? You're going to be a Washington Commander. Yeah. End of story.
Yeah, Adam Peters, the Commanders GM, who we heard from at the beginning of the show, said, I don't really envision any scenarios or too many scenarios where we do move down. I will say this. Well, I think that Washington would still hold its ground and rebuff this offer for these 3 first-round picks plus a second, Laura. It at least would generate a conversation within the building just because of the significant compensation attached to it. But Washington would find itself in a new conundrum, which would be that we already traded away Sam Howell this offseason. We only have Marcus Mariota as a credible starting quarterback option going into next year. And some would say that is no longer a credible starting quarterback option. Are we going to miss out on one of those first 6 quarterbacks in the draft if we don't love one of them that might be there at 13 and we don't want to take one in the second round? We might find ourselves with no quarterback option that we prefer. So you end up keeping the number 2 overall pick and take the player, whether it's Drake Maye, whether it's Jayden Daniels, that you feel like can be at the control panel of your franchise for the next decade plus.
Yeah, Field, I liked the haul you had there, but as you think about the potential risk, it does make you say, ooh, how could you pass up on him at 2? Either way, that Keaton Slovis with the crystal ball, Mel, I don't know. If anyone has a crystal ball here, it's probably Mel.